So there's even more recent details of exactly how nefarious a person like Bill Gates really is, which it's hard to believe because he's such a, sweater vesting, look like a nerd kind of person, and people were believed that he was like a smart tech guru and he developed Microsoft and he built this empire, and somehow he's just this nice, pleasant person. I mean, he goes on camera and he talks politely and stuff like that. But deep down, when you actually take a second to look at the persona of Bill Gates, how he started his company, how he dropped out of college, how he manipulated the general public, how he's sued multiple times. He's a monopolist. He's an evil monopolist. He's taken over and dominated over tech industry. He's dominated over intelligences. He's dominated over the cloud industry. He has deals with the CIA. He has deals with the military war empire. He has backwards deals with Jeffrey Epstein. He was part of the Jeffrey Epstein pedophile cult. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. He's involved in, vaccines. He's become the arbiter of medical advice, which is downright disgusting considering he hasn't graduated from college. He has no medical background, but he's the arbiter because he's bought his way into that industry and he's bought his way into the media presence. And now he's become the arbiter of COVID vaccines. And we all know what a nefarious, perverted creep and evil, sinister man that Bill Gates really is. And I know it's hard to believe because he wears those cutesy little sweater vests and, he's just a nerd. But even nerds can be downright revolting. And he is definitely revolting, disturbing, disgusting for society as a whole. And there's more to this. There's more that you can't even believe. And here's just some recent examples. So here's Bill Gates at Bloomberg New Economy Forum. By the way, he's a participant of the World Economic Forum. He's one of the head leaders of the World Economic Forum. As if that isn't already enough to show what a sinister, monopolistic, evil person this guy really is. How he manipulates the general public, how he demonizes, how he dominates and takes over and conquers all these different industries and screws over people. He's now screwing over farmers because he took all the farmland from America. He is now the biggest owner of agricultural land and screwing over the farm industry. Telling you to go eat bugs. As if that isn't already enough. Here's him at the Bloomberg New Economy Forum about to say that vaccines, the COVID vaccines and all the mandates was about trust in people and how they use this. They manipulate people to see what society's trust was on government, their trust on authority, their trust in big pharma. COVID conspiracy nuts used to say at the beginning of this that this was all used as like lab rats. We're treated as roaches and this was all for test subjects. And turns out, according to this video that I'm about to show you, they were exactly right. So the COVID conspiracy nuts that people thought were crazy, people like me that actually got vaccinated, and I put this disclaimer out every single time. As someone who's got vaccinated, the reason I'm showing you all this information is so you're aware of all this information and you take it as you will. I'm not here to preach any pro-vaccine, anti-vaccine whatsoever. It's your choice. It's your decision. Take the information as you will. But just take a listen to this.
Well, I'm not sure that, this was an interesting case test of people's trust.
So he's saying that the COVID vaccine distribution, the mandates, the lockdowns, this is an interesting test in people's trust. Yes, we had to make sure that people were still trusting the corruptedness, the exploitation, trusting the evil, sinister establishment and big pharmaceuticals and the World Economic Forum and a piece of shit like you. We have to trust these people and have them have everyone's health in their hands. Even though they've lied, they cheated, they manipulated, they stole, they they discredited, they demonized doctors that actually treated people with COVID. They demonized the people that invented the technology. They silenced out people. They did this global conspiracy around the goddamn planet to hide their exploitation and their criminality in the regards of COVID. And now he's saying that this is all a trust exercise. Like falling backwards and expecting someone to catch you. Oh, it's a trust exercise. Yeah, I'm going to be trusting to a pharmaceutical company that I can't even sue if I get wrongfully injured and they hid all the information until I'm 80. I'm going to trust those people
in their politicians or their health system. And, you know, statistically, we didn't do as well as I would have expected. You know, in fact, you know,
the fact that he's saying that wearing a black sweater and he's pouting, he's got his arms crossed like this, he's about to pinch his armpits like, oh, it didn't go as well as I expected. Gee, maybe because people aren't completely brainwashed? Maybe because people actually have the information? Maybe they actually went to see a doctor? Maybe they actually researched medical journals online, which is what we've done. That's what I've been doing. I've been listening to actual doctors. I've been listening to people like Dr. Robert Malone. I've been listening to other physicians. I've been looking at other countries that have stopped the treatment of these vaccines. I've looked at other cases. I've looked at all the medical research. I actually looked at the science involved in the virus, which I know is a crazy thought. Oh my God, people at home doing their own research. Who would have thought in 2022, with all this information, access to information, all the internet and stuff you can look on your phones and your tablets and computers. Oh my God, now we're afraid of looking up things. But people did that, and they realized that all of this was a sham. He has been manipulating you since day goddamn one. He's been exploiting you since day one. Why? Because he's an evil monopolist. He's not a doctor. He's not a medical scientist. He's not a nurse. He's not there to treat people. He's there to exploit people. And that's why he's pissed off. That's why he's at an economic forum saying this didn't work well. He's not at a science lab. He's not at a hospital. He's at an economic forum. Why? Because he didn't get the most profit off this. Just like the CEO of Moderna crying that he has to throw away 30,000 doses because people realized the Moderna drug was giving them worse side effects. Myocarditis in young children has become so common now that New York City television stations are airing advertisements on treatments. And you want us to trust you. You want us to be trustworthy to someone like you.
Cited as some, you know, mastermind of some evil plot in many, many cases. So, no, I didn't expect any of that. You know, in some ways, the politicization of, you know, taking vaccines and helping protect other people, you could almost say that's a step backwards. You know, I hope vaccine acceptance.
So he's saying that it's us politicizing it. Us everyday, ordinary people, we're the ones that are politicizing it. We're the ones that are manipulating this. Oh God, all these people that are talking to one another. Even though it's people like him that manipulate the system and judgment and information, that brainwash people to manipulate and scream and demonize at people that they're not vaccinated, they're not at their 15th booster shot, that they're an evil, nefarious person, and they need to be exiled away from society. We didn't start that. It's because of him. It's because of him. And now he's at an economic forum getting pissed off because his little evil mastermind plan didn't exactly work. Why? Because people might be actually smarter, Bill, than you think. People actually might take a second to look around them and maybe research and actually talk to another person and maybe understand that something does not add up. That 2 weeks to flatten the curve didn't exactly go as planned. I wonder why that is. I'm going to actually look into this and realize you've been explaining this since day goddamn one. You've lied from vaccines, you lied from mandates, you lied about the lockdowns, you lied about immunity, you lied about natural immunity, you've lied about, children getting vaccines, you lied about where the virus came from. And you hid it up for so long. You lied about the side effects. You're continuing to lie about the side effects. And you expect people to blindly trust that. You expect people to lie down flat and blindly trust you. Oh, it was a trust exercise. People are a lot better than that, Bill. They're not going to blindly trust again what you and your pharmaceutical representatives have done already. Permanent damage that's already been done to this entire globe. And you're continuing to do so. Because like I said, he's not just a monopolist in pharmaceuticals and the tech industry, which is already evil and nefarious as is. He's branched out into so many other things. Agriculture, and now he's going into climate change. Bill Gates. And you know why it is. It's not because he actually cares about the environment and the planet and, wants a life to be preserved on planet Earth. No, it's because there's some sort of fortune to be made on this. And believe it or not, there's actually this article that came up. And this is from Forbes magazine. Even though it's all a bunch of text, I had to do that to bypass the security wall. But this is an article from Forbes magazine saying a Bill Gates venture aims to spray dust into the atmosphere to block the sun. What can go wrong? Like, they have to ask that in the freaking headline. What can go wrong by dimming out the sun? Dimming out the vitamin D, the natural light, the natural resource that plants, living creatures, including us, need in everyday life. What can go wrong with that? So it goes on. Let me make this a bit bigger. Microsoft's billionaire founder, Bill Gates, is financially backing the development of sun-dimming technology that would potentially reflect sunlight out of the Earth's atmosphere, triggering a global cooling effect. The stratospheric-controlled perpetuation experiment. God, that's a long tongue twister. Launched by Harvard University scientists, aims to examine the solution by spraying non-toxic calcium carbonate dust into the atmosphere. I thought the whole point was to get chemicals out of the atmosphere. Like, we're complaining about CO2, we're complaining about, methane and nitrites, and rightly so. We want clean oxygen in order to breathe. We don't want these toxic chemicals into our atmosphere. Why are we adding more chemicals then to get rid of other chemicals? Like, that just doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. But I guess I'm not a Harvard University scientist. You gotta trust the science. A sun-reflecting aerosol that may offset the effects of global warming. Oh my God. Widespread research into the efficacy of solar geoengineering, that's apparently a thing, has been stalled for years due to controversy. Opponents believe such science comes with unpredictable risks, including extreme shifts in weather patterns, not dissimilar to warming trends we are already witnessing. Environmentalists similarly fear that a dramatic shift in mitigation strategy will be treated as a green light to continue emitting greenhouse gases with little to no changes in current consumption or production patterns. So in other words, the reason why they're moving forward with this, the reason why Bill Gates capitalized on this, because I'm sure a bunch of other corporations that are big polluters are going to capitalize on this. Because then they could say, look, hey, we're into climate change. We're into the environment. We're dimming out the sun so it doesn't get too hot, but we're going to continue to send even more toxins into the atmosphere, and we're not going to do a jack shit. We're not going to do jack shit, but it's going to pretend that we actually care. We'll take a small step into its early it will take a small step into its early research this June near the town of Kura, Sweden, where the Swedish Space Corporation has agreed to help launch a balloon carrying scientific equipment 12 miles high. The launch will not be released any stratospheric aerosols. Rather, it will serve as a test to maneuver the balloon and examine communications and operational systems. If successful, this could be a step towards a second experimental stage that will release a small amount of CaCO3 dust into the atmosphere. This is just painful. This is just outright painful. This also reminds me of, this is like a cartoon villain. Bill Gates is like a cartoon villain. Like, this is, I bet you there's a Simpsons episode where Mr. Burns has done this. I think there actually is. Where he wants to, like, block out the sun. Like, this is stuff you would see in an anime movie. Oh, I'm going to block out the sun, and then everything's going to be good. It's going to be good for humanity that we block out, you know, the nourishment of plants so that agriculture won't grow. But it's okay, because we'll have plant-based food. And by plants, I mean manufactured carcinogens plopped onto a station line. But it's plant-based. You'll be eating crickets. It's all good. It's all good for the world. Oh my God. This is just how cringeworthy crazy this gets. And as Incremental Logic points out, Bill Gates' venture aims to spray dust into the atmosphere to block the sun. What can go wrong? So they're quoting the article that I just read you there. What air rights do you have on property against this? And surveillance satellites, etc. in your airspace if your government won't protect you? There goes your vitamin D. Maybe that's another reason why Bill Gates is so on board on this. Hey, you don't have natural vitamin D extracted from the sun into your own body. I guess you're going to have to, you won't be able to build your immunity, so I guess you're going to have to rely on pharmaceutical drugs to build up your immunity to protect you from manufactured diseases. Maybe that's his situation. Maybe that's his other nefarious plan. You lose your vitamin D, you won't have, farmers won't be able to grow their crops, so then he'll have to resort into, you know, factory farming and manufactured goods. All these large corporations won't have to deal with pollutants. I guess it's a win-win for everybody, except the people that actually want to fucking live. You know, the people that actually want to be able to live and breathe in a comfortable state. Like, it's just outright insane. This is like a sci-fi nightmare gone wrong. Like, this is just insane. A cartoonish supervillain that's willing to go to this step. And here's also this, also to point out. This is from the National Post, the National Pulse. And they want to continue on more vaccines. Even though they've kind of admitted now that COVID's long done, that we're pretty much in the end state, that we're pretty much in the ending of the pandemic. Like, there's nothing we can do about it, which is what I've been saying since I started questioning about COVID, that we're pretty much going to have to live with it. It's going to be just like influenza. It's going to be like any other known infection, that we're just going to have to deal with it. And people that are compromised, you know, maybe change things up, maybe go out and get vaccinated. Like I said, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a medical expert on this as much as this person, but people claim that he is. I'm not either, but I've listened to actual doctors. I get my information from actual medical scientists and researchers and people that actually know a thing or two about this virus. Unlike this buffoon. I like this freaking asshole who's a cartoonish supervillain that now says the Gates Foundation is researching how to manipulate you into taking future COVID vaccines. Because that's, trustworthy. That's always trustworthy, that you have to manipulate someone to get an experimental vaccine, to continue on getting experimental vaccines. Even though we have known the side effects that are coming up with this, we know about the background, we know that people are getting silenced about the vaccines, that all the information that's being released about it, that was hidden by the legal system that they were trying to hide for like 80 plus years. Now things are getting leaked out about that. And now they want to manipulate you for even longer. Because, trust the science. We got to manipulate your judgment. Because that's always trustworthy. As opposed to actually releasing all the information, letting people decide for themselves whether they want to get the experimental drug or not. Which is something I would be saying. And what I've been preaching on. But, being on YouTube, being on social media, I have to tell you that everything I just told you is a lie. Go get vaccinated and, it's going to stop the spread. And probably this guy is a genius. Take it as you will.